What's up, everyone? I'm back at y'all with another video. Now, with this one, I'm going to talk about why the 70s, 80s, and 90s were the best era for movies. Because, there's some good modern movies out there. There's a lot of good modern movies out there. But there's just something about the 70s, 80s, and 90s eras for movies were just so much better. Like, number one, they actually tried. They didn't have a lot of special effects like they do now. Like they didn't have a lot of CGI like they do now. Everything was practical effects back in the day. And the 70s, 80s, and 90s is the movies that I grew up watching as a kid. Like when I was a kid, that's all I used to watch was 70s, 80s, and 90s movies. I love those eras for movies. And and they looked cooler too. They have a specific style. The 70s, 80s, and 90s have a specific style in those eras. Like it's crazy. One of my favorite movies that got made in the 70s is Enter the Dragon, a Bruce Lee movie. And Bruce Lee actually took a lot of real life hits during the film, from what I can understand. I'm pretty sure he took like a lot of real hits because there wasn't a lot of, they didn't have a lot of equipment like we do now. So everything back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s are just so damn good. Like, look at the original Halloween. And also, everything was so much original than they are now because everything's been done 1,000 times. And the 70s, 80s, and 90s, back in those eras, they were new. They were new and original. Like Halloween had some of the best atmosphere. The original Halloween had some of the best mood and atmosphere in horror movies. And so yeah, and I just love these eras so much. 70s, 80s, and 90s, nothing, it cannot be topped. It cannot be topped. At least in my opinion. Um, because that's the problem with modern movies is like they're not even as intense as they used to be. What I mean by that is back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they were more like freaking, they were more gritty. Like if they're doing an action movie and they're doing a fight scene, it's more intense. It's more intense, and they found a way to pump you up even more while watching a certain fight scene. And also, look at the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, that gritty feel to it back in the 70s, in 1974. That movie was gritty. Because, back in the 70s and 90s, all that, those eras of movies are just, they're the best eras. They're just the best. And I don't think we're ever going to get that again. Because, because the 70s, 80s, and 90s, now we gotta face this new generation of movies, which is, I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but let's face it, it's too modern. It's too modernized. I miss my Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. I miss Stallone still makes movies, but I miss those classic action movies. Regardless, I miss those classics. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger's old movies. I miss those type of action. But we don't get that anymore. We really don't get that anymore, um and it kinda sucks, I love any movie as long as it's good. As long as the movie's good and entertaining, I enjoy it. There's some good modern movies. There's a lot of good modern movies, but it's just that the ones in the 70s, 80s, and 90s cannot be topped. They just can't. Like Enter the Dragon is one of my all-time favorite movies, and that movie got made in the 70s. And the original Halloween is also one of my favorite movies. Like that movie got made in 1978. So, and then in the 80s, Halloween 4 is my second favorite Halloween movie. That got made in 1988, and my favorite Chucky movie got made in 1988 as well, the original Child's Play. And then Child's Play 2 got made in 1990. And then the original Scream got made in 1996. So just look at those time frames. Those movies are better than most of these modern movies that are made today. Like look at Bloodsport, got made in 1988. The movie Bloodsport, which is of course it stars Jean-Claude Van Damme, one of the greatest, if not the greatest martial art movie of all time. To me, it's probably my second favorite martial art movie, close to freaking Enter the Dragon. See, these eras of movies cannot be topped. So yeah, I decided why not do a video of talking about why the 70s, 80s, and 90s were the best eras for movies. Because to me, they kind of were. So yeah, so let me know in the comments below. You know, what do y'all think about this? Like, is the 70s, 80s, and 90s y'all's favorite eras for movies as well? So yeah, get to this video. If y'all enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, please subscribe and share. Also with the bell, so you know new videos uploaded. Peace out. Hope y'all enjoy this video. Now I'm out. Peace.